Think of a time when you were deeply relaxed and calm, perhaps during self-hypnosis or maybe a hypnotherapy session. How do you think that state affected the vibration of your thoughts compared to when you felt stressed or anxious? We're going to talk about that in today's talk time. I've got Teresa Saunders joining me. I'm Meredith McCarthy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and a trainer, and I am passionate about sharing all sorts of things to do with hypnosis. Hi, Teresa. How are you today?
Hi, Meredith. I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Good, good. I just wanted to, I guess, start off with thinking about when people come in and they come in for a hypnotherapy session. Quite often, that's the most relaxed that they have felt for years. Have you found that?
Definitely. People often say that, gosh, I haven't felt that relaxed for so long, or I really don't ever remember feeling like this at all. Yeah, it's been a
So I
long
think
time.
when we look at human beings in vibration, we understand the vibration of emotion. We feel it change all the time, that weather of the day. And when we have a chance to sit down and really do reflective work, healing work, we shift. We can feel the lightness. People often might even explain it like that. I just feel so much lighter. I feel like I've let go of something.
Mm.
When we're looking at that idea of when we get anxious or stressed in comparison, how might you describe that energetically? If you were to think about what you observe in clients and what they tell you, what are they describing?
They're describing disconnect between their actual selves and where they're wanting to be and what they're actually doing. The energy often is quite high, quite scattered.
Mm.
Um, we as human beings try to fit so much into our lives. We schedule so much nowadays, and how much in a day can we honestly say that we take out for ourselves during that day? And
Oh,
some people,
you and I are both guilty of that, right?
yeah, I know, just do, won't be long. 5 hours later.
We're very passionate about helping people and doing good things, but sometimes we have to remind ourselves to go for our own walk and our own, time. And so everyone's a work in progress here. Like there's no no human being, I think, that's walking along the earth in perfect zen all the time.
Wouldn't that
That
be nice? What would
but
we do?
I think, when we think about the idea of anxiety and stress, sometimes it can become such a burden. It almost becomes an identity vibration. Like we're literally walking through all of our decisions in that state, and it's not healthy and it's not going to serve you well. So we need to shed that anxiety feeling and thinking so we can replace it with something much more harmonious. So it's going to help us to make more balanced executive decisions around what is going to really be beneficial versus what might be harmful. So let's think about addictions and the addiction mindset. And that's actually quite stressful to be in.
Mm.
So, you have to cater to thinking about your next cigarette or thinking about the next wine or whatever. And it's like this nagging voice propelling people into this feeding of whatever that addiction cycle is. And so if we think about hypnosis and we think about changing the frequency, we want to shift it from that need frequency, like I'm desperately needing something to fill a void or that kind of stuff. And if we can allow that client to transition from that real hollow, like I've got this emptiness I need to fill, to feeling abundant and buoyant and knowing you've got everything you need already to be quite fine. I think that's a big part of what we do as hypnotherapists, don't we?
Mm, yeah, flipping your emotions and just gently guiding people to see that they do have that within themselves.
Mm.
Because sometimes, especially with addictions, people have forgotten that they do have another side to them. They do have a better self.
Mm. I think often when people write in that addiction, it feels so foreign to think of life any other way,
Mm,
and it scares them. It scares them to change because they're not sure of how they're going to cope, even if they're not coping that well at all. In fact, their life might be quite chaotic because of the addiction, whether it's gambling or drugs or anything. It destroys families, it destroys relationships, and it destroys the relationship with themselves as well, like their self-esteem plummets.
mm,
And so we have this, I guess, journey that we take many clients on to release that vibrational heaviness or that kind of belief cycle that hasn't been serving them energetically. This is a big part of what we do. So they're healing from the inside. They're healing that part that was wounded once upon a time when this, and this happened, or they came to a conclusion that they couldn't do this because, there are many thoughts and beliefs that are causing chaos energetically in someone's equilibrium, and then therefore affecting their choices in life.
mm. And that's where we can actually not take up, we can let those choices go. So if somebody says something to you, you don't have to take that on, allow that hurt and pain to sort of stay with you. You can just think, okay, well, that's their opinion of it, but I don't actually agree with that, and let it go. Like we're saying, just let it go.
Mm, absolutely. When we think about the idea of unburdening, we started to talk about that in our last talk time, and that's like thinking about what are the things that don't serve me anymore, and just kind of getting to that point where you do a process with yourself and just let it go. What would that look like, sound like, feel like as well, to be able to walk without that anymore? Like doing that dress rehearsal of success as you move yourself into the future and imagine your ultimate self. What is your ultimate self feeling? What's the frequency going on in your body, in your mind, in your world around you, in your relationships? How's that impacting you? So many hypnotherapy sessions may have ego strengthening attached to the journey. And it may sound like Emile Coué's sort of every day and every way. It just gets better and better and easier and easier. And, you've got that optimistic outcome going on. And I think to think about the frequency of that positive intention and that positive suggestion is really important to take on board. So as a human being, what would I like to be able to really reinforce in my own internal intention, how I want to use my own internal suggestions that's going to help me to vibrate at a different, a better frequency, a nicer frequency.
Mm. A lot of people, I think, that come to us as well, when, especially in their initial session, they're living a lot of their life in the sympathetic, being in sympathetic mode, you know, and we want to flip that to be in the parasympathetic mode, because we don't want to be living in that fight, flight, freeze state all the time, because it causes so much stress to our body.
Mm. So let's just talk a little bit about what the difference is between the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. So when we have a stressful encounter, we even thinking about something that might go wrong, we start to set off something very interesting in our mind. So there is a part of our brain called the amygdala, and it is watching the information. So if you imagine you've got an internal movie screen in your mind and you've got the disaster channel on, it's going to start to react to that message, and it's going to send a signal into your central nervous system, all is not well. And so we're going to go into our sympathetic nervous system setting. So this is where we're sympathetic to the threat, and we're going to go into survival mode, fight, flight, freeze, or
Fight,
flow,
flight, freeze, fawn.
fawn. We've talked about that actually in some other talk times that we've had. But in short, if we want to reset and come into our calm zone, this is our parasympathetic nervous system. And if you want to remember that, like a parachute, it's allowing you to safely land. It's not just free falling. So parasympathetic nervous system is, you're coming down to earth. And you're feeling your feet are on the ground now. I'm safe, all is well. and you can go into rest and digest again. Your executive functioning brain is now on instead of your basic brain. Some people call it the reptilian brain, but our basic brain is when we're going to fight, flight, freeze, all about survival. So what we want to do is make sure that we're not living in that sympathetic nervous system response, that stress response all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And often a lot of us do.
Mm. So when we're looking at that idea of hypnosis and how that can help us to be more engaged in living a more calmer, peaceful, more buoyant and abundant life, that comes from the thoughts we're thinking, and the thoughts that affect then our energy that we're sitting in our energy body. And then that affects our actions that we have towards the world around us. So if you're angry, how does your body behave? It gets stiff, it gets really tense, and maybe you make sort of funny like frowns and things. There's all these micro movements that say, yes, I'm really upset about this. If we're nice and loving and calm and feeling good, what does our body do? It shifts into that more calm, open state. It's not sitting there as if it's angry. So when we're looking at the idea of frequency, this is what body does. It responds to the thoughts. It responds in that energetic way, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. And just touching on the thoughts, also, I often get people to look at their beliefs. What belief, why do I believe that? Is
Mm.
that belief, do I believe that belief to be true? Is it true? How is it going to affect me if I hold on to that belief now? Or can I let that go as well?
Absolutely. The old fact or fiction exercise, I like to call it. So is it fact or fiction? How do I know that to be true? Is it just mind-made? Probably. A lot of stuff is mind-made. We make up stuff all the time about all sorts of things.
Our minds are amazing things.
Absolutely. So when we're kind of looking at getting into that right vibration, when you think about that idea of deeply relaxing into a calm sort of space, maybe even just thinking, hey, can I take my mind off and go to my happy place? That will affect your central nervous system every time. So, when we're looking at that idea of adjusting how you're going to turn up in the world, you can absolutely affect your frequency of feeling based upon where you point your mind, what intention you set. So that's all I think we have to say about that one today.
Yes, just comment down to us if there's anything that you want to, anything that's sort of like little nuggets of potential that you've got from this, or that you agree or you've done.
Mm,
Put a comment down below, and we'll respond back to it.
yeah.
And my famous thing: like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
And if you are interested in training to be a hypnotherapist, check out our school website, nzach.ac.nz. Love to have you on board. And there is a new training round coming up in February, so check it out. I really love talking about this stuff, and I'm hoping you guys out there are enjoying the series. And if you are, let us know. We've got lots of other little wee thoughts that we're going to start with and sort of journey into. So I hope you can all tune in same time next week. And thank you again, Teresa, for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me. Until next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.